My child, listen to me now, not with your ears alone but with the depths of your spirit, for this moment is not accidental and this message did not arrive by chance. I have called you here because something within you is waking up, something ancient, something I placed inside you long before you understood pain, disappointment, delay, or silence, and today I say to you clearly and without hesitation, your time starts now, not tomorrow, not when you feel more ready, not when everything looks perfect, but now, in this very breath you are taking, for I am the God of timing and I do not speak prematurely, I do not arrive late, and I do not awaken my chosen without purpose, and I know you have waited, I know you have endured seasons where nothing moved, where prayers felt unanswered, where doors remained closed despite your faith, where you wondered if you misunderstood me or if I had forgotten your name, but my beloved, I never forget, I never overlook, and I never abandon what my hands have formed. I have been watching you in the waiting, I have been strengthening you in the silence, I have been refining you in the delay, because there were things that had to be removed before what I promised could be released, and there were battles you could not see that I was fighting on your behalf, and while you thought nothing was happening, everything was aligning, for divine preparation often looks like delay to the human eye, but today I announce a shift, today I mark a turning point, today I declare that the season of hiddenness is giving way to the season of emergence. And the time you thought you lost has been redeemed by my hand, my child. I have seen your tears that fell in private, the nights where you asked me why it was taking so long, the moments you felt overlooked while others moved ahead, the heaviness that came when hope felt fragile, and yet you did not quit, you did not turn bitter, you did not walk away from me even when your heart was tired, and that endurance has not gone unnoticed, for I am the God who stores every tear, who records every act of faith, and who honors those who remain even when the road is unclear. And now I say to you, lift your head, for the ground beneath you is changing, the atmosphere around you is shifting, and what once resisted you will begin to respond, because the authority I placed within you is activating, and the calling that has been dormant is beginning to stir. My child, you have been in a waiting season. But waiting was never punishment, it was preparation, it was protection, it was alignment, and now the waiting is giving way to movement, because you are ready in ways you were not before, your heart is stronger, your discernment is sharper, your spirit is deeper, and your dependence on me is greater, and that is why I say your time starts now, for I do not release destiny to an unanchored soul, and I do not accelerate a calling without first healing the wounds that could distort it, and I know you have been healing even when you didn't realize it. I have been gently restoring parts of you that pain once fractured, teaching you to trust again, teaching you to listen again, teaching you to stand again, and though the process was uncomfortable, it was necessary because what I am about to entrust to you requires wholeness, clarity, and courage, and yes, my beloved, there were moments you felt like you were fighting invisible battles, moments where discouragement pressed in without explanation, moments where fear whispered that you were running out of time, but those were not signs of defeat, they were signs of proximity, because resistance increases when breakthrough is near, and the enemy does not fight what carries no future, he does not oppose what has no assignment, and yet you stood, sometimes weak, sometimes uncertain, but still standing, and that alone disqualified the plans that were formed against you. For I am the God who strengthens the weary, and I do not measure you by your moments of doubt but by your willingness to keep going, and now I speak restoration over you, restoration of confidence, restoration of joy, restoration of clarity, restoration of vision, and restoration of identity, for somewhere along the way you began to forget who you are, you began to see yourself through the lens of delay instead of destiny, through the lens of pain instead of promise, but I say to you now, you are chosen, you are called, you are known, and you are deeply loved, and nothing you have been through has disqualified you, nothing you endured was wasted, and nothing the enemy tried succeeded, for I am rewriting what you thought was lost, and I am breathing life into what you thought was over, and my child, I know you learned how to survive, but now I am teaching you how to live, I know you learned how to endure, but now I am teaching you how to move, and I know you learned how to wait, but now I am calling you to walk forward, not in fear, not in hesitation but in trust, because I am with you, I am before you, and I am within you, and where I am, there is no lack, no delay, and no defeat, and I know you wonder what this new season will look like, and I do not reveal everything at once because faith grows in steps, not leaps, but I will tell you this, doors will open that once resisted you, connections will form that you did not have to force, opportunities will arise that confirm my timing, and peace will accompany what I initiate. For what I release from heaven does not bring confusion, it brings clarity, and yes, there will still be challenges, but they will no longer overwhelm you because you will face them from a place of authority, not insecurity, from identity, not fear, and from alignment, not striving. My beloved, you do not need to chase what is meant for you, you only need to walk in obedience, and I will bring what aligns. And as you move forward, you will notice that some things and some people no longer fit. And that is not loss, that is transition, for I am pruning to prepare you for growth, and what cannot go with you is not meant to follow you into this next chapter. Do not mourn what I am removing, trust what I am building, for I am a God who finishes what he starts. And this story is not ending, it is unfolding, and I know your heart longs for reassurance, for confirmation that this is real, and I tell you now, the peace you feel as you hear my voice is your confirmation, the stirring in your spirit is your confirmation, and the quiet strength rising within you is your confirmation, because when I speak, something aligns on the inside before it manifests on the outside, and my child, your destiny is not behind you, it is before you, and the version of you that emerges from this season will recognize the value of the wait, the wisdom of the process, and the faithfulness of my hand. And one day you will look back and realize that the delay was the doorway, the pain was the teacher, and the silence was the training ground, and now I call you to rise, not in pride but in purpose, not in fear but in faith, not alone, but with me, and as you take the next step, know that heaven backs you, angels are assigned to you, and my spirit goes before you to make the crooked paths straight, and I am restoring your sense of time, for you are not behind, you are aligned, you are not late, you are appointed, and you are not forgotten, you are chosen, and today I seal this word over you, today I mark this moment in the spirit, today I declare that stagnation breaks, heaviness lifts, clarity comes, and courage rises, and you will move forward with a quiet confidence that does not need validation, because you know who walks with you. And now, my child, go forth, for the light within you has been awakened, your steps are ordered, your heart is strengthened, and your time starts now. My beloved child, as you step into this now moment I have declared, I need you to understand something deeply, something that will anchor you when emotions fluctuate and circumstances attempt to speak louder than truth. This new beginning does not mean everything will suddenly become easy, but it does mean you will no longer walk confused about who you are or why you are here. For clarity is one of the greatest gifts I release at the start of Destiny Movement, and I am restoring clarity to your heart, clarity to your mind, clarity to your spiritual sight, because for too long you have been second-guessing yourself, doubting your discernment, questioning whether you heard me correctly, and that uncertainty drained your strength. But now I am stabilizing you from the inside out, I am rooting you so deeply in me that external noise will no longer shake your direction. And yes, my child, the enemy tried to delay you by exhausting you, by keeping you in cycles of overthinking, by replaying old wounds and reminding you of past failures, but those tactics are losing their power now, because healing has reached a level where memory no longer controls movement, and pain no longer dictates identity, and I say this gently but firmly, you are not who you were when you were wounded, you are not who you were when you were broken, you are not who you were when you barely survived, you are who I say you are now, refined, strengthened, awakened, and aligned, and this is why resistance will try one last time to intimidate you as you move forward, not because you are weak, but because you are finally dangerous to darkness, because you carry light that exposes, truth that liberates, and authority that shifts atmospheres, and I need you to remember this when challenges arise. Battles do not mean you are off course, they often mean you are exactly where you should be, and I will not allow you to be overwhelmed, for I am teaching you how to fight differently now, not with panic, not with desperation, but with peace, discernment, and trust, because the battles ahead are not meant to break you, they are meant to prove what has already changed within you. And my child, you are no longer fighting for victory, you are fighting from it, for I have already gone before you, disarmed what stood in your way, and made room for you to advance, and you will notice something unusual in this season. Situations that once drained you will no longer have the same effect, words that once wounded you will lose their sting, and obstacles that once stopped you will now become stepping stones, because your inner posture has shifted, and when the inside changes, the outside must eventually follow, and I know part of you still carries a quiet fear of disappointment, a hesitation rooted in past hopes that did not unfold the way you expected. But I ask you now to release that fear into my hands, for this season is not a repetition of the last one, this is not the same chapter rewritten. This is a new page entirely, and I am not asking you to forget what you learned, I am asking you not to let it limit what you believe is possible, because I am doing something different, something deeper, something more aligned with who you have become, and the blessings ahead will not only look different, they will feel different, they will come with peace instead of anxiety, with confirmation instead of confusion, with sustainability instead of burnout, because I am no longer allowing you to build from a place of survival, I am teaching you to build from a place of rest, and that rest does not mean inactivity, it means trust, it means movement without fear, obedience without striving, and faith without pressure, and as you walk forward, I will begin to reveal purpose more clearly, not all at once, but step by step, because purpose is not a destination, it is a journey of becoming, and each step will stretch you just enough to grow without overwhelming you. And my beloved, there will be moments of joy that surprise you, moments of breakthrough that feel quiet but powerful, moments where you realize you are living in answers you once cried for, and when that happens, remember me, remember the waiting, remember the process, and let gratitude keep your heart soft, because humility protects destiny, and I am entrusting you with much, not because you are perfect but because you are surrendered. And now hear this final truth for this portion of the journey: you are not walking into uncertainty, you are walking into alignment, and alignment always releases acceleration in its time. And I will speak again, guide again, confirm again, and strengthen you again as you continue, for I am not distant, I am present, not silent, but speaking, and not finished, but faithful. And as you breathe and take your next step, let this settle deep within you: you are held, you are guided, you are protected, and you are exactly where you need to be as your time unfolds before. My child, there is something I must speak to you now that will steady your heart as you continue forward, because whenever I begin to move you from preparation into manifestation, old emotions try to resurface, not because they have authority, but because they are losing relevance, and the mind often clings to what is familiar even when it is no longer necessary. And I know there are memories you thought were healed that suddenly knock again, questions you believed were settled that attempt to rise, and feelings that whisper, what if this falls apart like before? But I say to you gently, do not be alarmed by this, for this is not regression, this is release, the final shaking of what cannot travel with you into what I am building. And I am not asking you to suppress these emotions, I am inviting you to surrender them, to let me finish the healing that has already begun, because true healing is not the absence of memory, it is the absence of control those memories once had over you. And you are reaching that place now, where the pain no longer defines you, where the past no longer speaks louder than my promise, and where fear no longer dictates your decisions. And this is holy ground, my beloved, because when inner healing aligns with divine timing, movement becomes inevitable. And I know you have been praying for clarity about relationships, about direction, about your role and your purpose, and I tell you this now: I am simplifying what once felt complex, I am quieting the noise that confused you, and I am sharpening your discernment so you can recognize what carries my peace and what does not, because discernment is protection, and I am protecting you in this season, protecting your heart, your calling, and your focus. And some connections will naturally fade, not through conflict, but through clarity, and that is not rejection, that is redirection. And you do not need to explain every transition to everyone, because obedience does not require consensus. It requires trust, and I am teaching you to listen more closely to my voice than to external opinions, because the path I am leading you on will not always make sense to those who cannot see what I have shown you, and that is why intimacy with me is increasing now, because what comes next will require confidence rooted in relationship, not approval. And my child, understand this: your calling is not small, even if it begins quietly. What I place in you has impact beyond what you can currently see. And that is why the refining was intense, because what carries weight must be strong enough to hold it, and you are becoming that strength, not hardened but anchored, not closed but wise. And I know you once believed that being strong meant being unbreakable, but I have shown you that true strength is staying open even after disappointment, trusting again even after loss, and loving again even after betrayal. And that kind of strength cannot be taught, it must be formed, and it has been forming in you day by day, tear by tear, prayer by prayer. And now I speak to the fear that says you are running out of time. I silence it, because I am the restorer of time, and I redeem what felt wasted, I accelerate what aligns, and I make beauty rise from what looked barren. And there will be moments ahead where things begin to move quickly, where answers come faster than expected, where doors open in succession. And when that happens, stay grounded in me, do not rush ahead of my peace, do not return to striving, remember the lessons of the waiting, because speed without alignment creates exhaustion, but movement with me creates life. And I am leading you in a pace that sustains you, not drains you. And my beloved, as you continue, you will begin to recognize yourself again, not the version shaped by survival, but the version shaped by truth, the one who trusts me without fear of abandonment, the one who believes without constant reassurance, the one who moves without needing to control outcomes. And that recognition will feel like coming home to yourself. And when doubt tries to speak, return to this truth: I am with you, I am guiding you, and I am faithful to complete what I began. And nothing that belongs to you will miss you, nothing that is meant for you will pass you by, and nothing the enemy tried will override my purpose. And now, my child, let your heart rest for a moment in this knowing, breathe deeply, release what you have been holding too tightly, and allow me to carry what was never meant for your shoulders, for you are not alone in this journey, you never have been and you never will be, and I am walking you forward step by step, season by season, into the fullness of what I promised. My beloved, there is a deeper work unfolding now, one that does not announce itself loudly but reshapes everything quietly, because I am not only changing your circumstances, I am transforming the way you stand within them. And this is where many do not understand what I am doing in you, for they expect visible signs before inner alignment, but I work from the inside outward always, And I am teaching you to recognize my movement not by noise, but by peace, not by urgency but by assurance, and you will notice that even when uncertainty arises, it no longer consumes you the way it once did, because your spirit has learned where to rest, and that rest is not passivity, it is trust anchored in relationship. And my child, I know there were seasons where you had to carry burdens that were not yours, expectations that weighed heavy, responsibilities that stretched you beyond what was fair. And you did it without complaint because your heart is faithful. But hear me now, I am releasing you from the need to carry what I never assigned. I am removing false responsibility and misplaced guilt. And I am teaching you the difference between obedience and obligation, because obedience brings life and obligation drains it. And I am not calling you into exhaustion, I am calling you into alignment. And in this alignment, you will begin to feel lighter even as you move forward, because grace accompanies what I initiate. And I am restoring joy to your obedience, joy to your service, joy to your becoming, for joy is strength, and I have not forgotten how much you need strength in this next chapter. And my beloved, there will be moments when you look around and realize that you are no longer asking the same questions you once asked, you are no longer begging for the same confirmations, and you are no longer trapped in the same cycles of doubt, because maturity has quietly taken root, and maturity is not loud. It is steady, it is faithful, and it is confident without arrogance. And I am pleased with this growth in you, even if others have not noticed it yet, for heaven sees what earth often overlooks, and I must prepare you for this truth as well. Not everyone who walked with you in the waiting will walk with you in the unfolding, and that does not mean they failed or you failed, it means seasons change and assignments shift, and I will give you peace in letting go, not bitterness, not resentment, but gratitude for what was and trust for what is coming, because I am surrounding you with the right support for the next phase, people who will recognize your growth without competing with it, who will honor your calling without trying to control it, and who will walk beside you without pulling you backward. And you do not need to search for these connections, you only need to remain where I place you, for alignment attracts alignment, and my child, as your time continues to unfold, you will feel a stronger pull toward purpose, a clearer sense of direction, not always detailed, but anchored, and that anchor will keep you steady when winds shift. And yes, opposition may still arise, but it will no longer intimidate you because you are learning who you are in me, and identity settled removes fear. And I want you to understand this clearly, you are not stepping into something fragile, you are stepping into something established, something I prepared long before you arrived here, and you are not late to it, you are right on time, and the patience you learned will now serve you well, because what is coming requires wisdom, discernment, and restraint as much as courage, and I am giving you all of these. And my beloved, there will be moments when you feel the weight of responsibility return, but it will feel different now, not heavy but meaningful, not draining but purposeful, because you will know why you are doing what you are doing, and purpose brings endurance. And endurance brings fruit, and fruit brings fulfillment. And as this part of the journey continues, let this truth stay close to your heart. You do not have to prove anything to anyone, you only have to remain faithful to me, and I will handle the rest. I will open what needs to open, close what needs to close, and guide you where you need to go. And when you feel unsure, return to this moment, return to my voice, return to my promise. Your time has begun, and I am walking with you through every step of it, steady, present, and faithful, until what I have spoken is fully revealed. My child, as you continue walking into this unfolding, I want you to recognize the subtle courage rising within you, because courage does not always feel bold, sometimes it feels quiet, like a steady resolve that refuses to retreat even when the path feels unfamiliar. And this is the courage I am forming in you now, not the kind that seeks recognition, but the kind that remains faithful when no one is watching. And I am pleased with this work, for it is preparing you to steward what is coming with wisdom and humility. And I know there are moments when you still wonder if you are truly capable, if you have what it takes to carry what I am placing before you, but I tell you this, I never call without equipping, and I never send without my presence, and the very doubts you wrestled with have become the ground where dependence on me has grown, and dependence is strength, not weakness. And my beloved, I need you to understand that this season will ask you to trust me in new ways, not because I am changing, but because you are growing, and growth always invites deeper trust. And there will be moments where I ask you to move before you see the full picture, to speak before you feel fully confident, to step forward while the outcome is still unclear. But these steps will not be reckless, they will be guided, and I will confirm each one with peace, because I do not lead my children through confusion, I lead them through relationship. And as you obey, even in small ways, momentum will build, and confidence will rise naturally, not from self-assurance but from repeated encounters with my faithfulness. And my child, there is a release of creativity and vision happening within you now, ideas that carry life, dreams that feel different from the ones you once had, because they are no longer rooted in proving yourself, they are rooted in serving purpose. And this shift matters, Because purpose-centered vision sustains you through challenges while self-centered. Striving exhausts you, and I have delivered you from striving even if you do not fully realize it yet, and you will notice this freedom when opportunities arise. You will no longer feel the need to say yes to everything, you will choose with discernment, you will move with intention, and you will rest without guilt, and that balance will protect your heart as you build what I am entrusting to you. And my beloved, do not be surprised if blessings arrive in unexpected forms, answers through ordinary conversations, breakthroughs through simple obedience, confirmations through quiet moments, because I often move most powerfully through what seems small, and I want you to stay attentive, not anxious, receptive, not rushed, because this season rewards awareness, and I am sharpening your spiritual senses so you can recognize my guidance even when it does not come dramatically, and there will be days when progress feels slow, and days when everything seems to accelerate at once, and in both, remain anchored, because consistency will carry you where intensity cannot. And I am teaching you to walk steadily, not sporadically, because endurance matters now. And my child, I speak peace over your heart concerning the future. You do not need to have everything figured out, you only need to stay connected to me, for I reveal what you need when you need it, and I will not overwhelm you with tomorrow's concerns when today's grace is sufficient, and when fear tries to remind you of past disappointments, answer it with truth. This is a new season, this is a new alignment, and this is a faithful God who does not repeat mistakes. And I want you to hear this clearly, you are not alone in this calling, even when the path feels solitary. I am with you, and I am also preparing others even now, whose paths will intersect with yours at the right time, and these connections will feel different, safe, mutual, and purposeful, because they will be sent, not forced. And as you move forward, let gratitude remain your posture, not because everything is perfect, but because I am present, and presence changes everything. And my beloved, rest in this truth as you continue. You are not chasing destiny, you are walking into it, step by step, breath by breath, with me guiding you faithfully into all that I have promised. My beloved child, I want you to understand that what is unfolding now is not fragile, even if it feels tender, for tenderness is not weakness, it is sensitivity to my presence. And I am teaching you to move with awareness rather than fear, because fear makes you rigid, but awareness keeps you responsive, and in this responsiveness, you will hear me more clearly than ever before, not always through dramatic signs, but through a quiet knowing that settles in your spirit, guiding your choices, shaping your reactions and guarding your heart. And you will begin to notice that you no longer react the way you once did. You pause, you listen, you respond with wisdom, and that is evidence of growth, because maturity reveals itself in restraint, and I have been forming restraint in you, not to limit you but to protect what is being built. And my child, there is a level of authority emerging within you that does not come from position, but from alignment, and this authority will be felt before it is announced, because when you are aligned with me, your presence carries peace, your words carry weight, and your obedience carries impact, and you will influence more by who you are becoming than by what you try to do. And this is why I have taken such care with your inner world, because influence without integrity collapses, but influence rooted in truth endures, and I am building something in you that will last, not something that burns bright for a moment and fades. And I know there are still areas where you feel uncertain, places where you wish you felt more confident, more secure, more prepared, but I tell you this gently, readiness is not the absence of questions, it is the presence of trust, and you have learned to trust me even when answers were incomplete, and that trust qualifies you more than you realize. And as you move forward, you will begin to see fruit, not always immediately, but consistently, and consistency will reassure you that you are on the right path. And my beloved, guard your heart in this season, not from love, but from comparison, because comparison will try to make you question the pace of your journey, but I have designed your path uniquely, and what I am doing in you cannot be rushed or replicated, and you do not need to match anyone else's timeline to fulfill your calling, because your obedience writes its own rhythm. And I am pleased with the way you are learning to honor your pace, to respect your limits, and to trust my timing, and this wisdom will preserve you as responsibility increases. And yes, there will be moments when you feel the weight of expectation, both internal and external, but return to this truth: I did not call you to impress, I called you to obey, and obedience keeps you free. And my child, you are entering a season where your voice will matter more, not louder, but clearer, and you will speak from experience, not theory, from healing, not hurt, and from conviction, not insecurity. And this will draw those who need what you carry, and you do not need to search for them. They will recognize the authenticity of your journey, and I will use even your past pain as a point of connection and hope for others, because nothing you endured was wasted. And as you continue, let compassion remain strong within you, not as a burden, but as a gift, because compassion guided by wisdom brings healing without draining you. And I am teaching you how to give without emptying yourself, how to serve without losing yourself, and how to love without fear. And my beloved, This balance is holy, and it will sustain you for the long journey ahead. And as this part unfolds, let this truth settle deeply in you. You are not becoming someone else. You are becoming who you were always meant to be, and I am pleased with the way you are responding to my leading step by step with humility, courage, and trust. And I will continue to guide you, strengthen you, and walk with you as your time continues to unfold according to my perfect will. My child, there is a sacred settling happening within you now, a quiet agreement between your spirit and my will, and this agreement is powerful because when surrender becomes natural instead of forced, resistance loses its grip. And I know surrender once felt like loss to you, like giving up control meant risking disappointment again, but I have shown you gently that surrender is not losing yourself, it is finding yourself in me, and as you release the need to manage every outcome, you are discovering a freedom you did not know you could carry, a freedom to trust without tension, to hope without desperation, and to move without fear of failure, and this freedom will protect you in the days ahead, because what I am bringing into your life requires an open hand, not a clenched fist, and I am teaching you how to receive without fear, how to steward without anxiety, and how to walk forward without constantly looking back. And my beloved, I know the past still tries to whisper at times, reminding you of moments you wish you had handled differently, choices you would change if you could. But hear me now, condemnation has no place in this season, for conviction leads to growth, but condemnation drains life, and I have already redeemed what you regret, I have already forgiven what you confessed, and I have already healed what you surrendered, and I will not allow yesterday to disqualify tomorrow, because I am the God who makes all things new, not some things, not partial things, but all things, and this includes you, your heart, your story, and your future. And my child, as your time continues, you will notice an increasing sense of responsibility, not heavy but holy, a desire to live intentionally, to choose wisely, to speak carefully, and to love deeply, and this is evidence that your heart is aligned with mine, because alignment produces awareness, and awareness produces wisdom, and wisdom protects destiny. And I want you to understand this clearly, you are not walking into chaos, you are walking into order, even if the process feels unfamiliar, because divine order often disrupts human comfort before it establishes peace, and you may feel stretched, asked to grow in ways that challenge your old habits, but I will not stretch you beyond what I sustain, and I will always provide grace equal to the assignment. And my beloved, I am also healing the way you see yourself, because self-perception matters more than circumstance, and for a long time you measured yourself by what you lacked, what went wrong, or what had not yet arrived. But I am teaching you to see yourself through my eyes, whole, capable, loved, and chosen, and when you see yourself correctly, you will move differently, speak differently, and believe differently, and this shift will open doors that effort never could, because confidence rooted in truth attracts favor, and favor follows obedience, and obedience flows naturally from love. And my child, you loved me even when you struggled, even when you questioned, even when you were tired, your heart remained soft toward me, and that softness is precious. Do not harden it out of fear of being hurt again, for I am your protector, and I guard what I call. And as you continue forward, let this season teach you how to enjoy the journey, not just endure it, how to notice my goodness in small moments, not just in major breakthroughs, because joy is not postponed until arrival, it is available in process, and I am inviting you to live from that place now, where gratitude and expectation walk together. And my beloved, as this chapter unfolds, I will continue to speak, to guide, and to affirm you. And when uncertainty tries to rise, return to this truth: I am with you, I am for you, and I am faithful to finish what I started, and you will not walk alone, not now, not ever, as your time continues to move forward under my loving and perfect care.